teachers, everybody was ready and they knew how to deal with it. But schools which were not using so much of technology, they had issues, because these issues were issues which they had to actually train, unlearn methods which they were so used to. So what would you want and what should be the need? It needs to be a whole educational environment, friends, where children can be themselves. See, please, let's not take away the innocence and the childhood from the child. You and I today are stressed, job, pandemic, हजार stress है. COVID होगा, नहीं होगा, family safe है, नहीं है. Let the children enjoy their childhood, not now in COVID times, but even when school reopens in physical spaces. They need to be able to play. Play is so important, but there are lots of schools which think play is okay, that one PE period or one games period is play. I would say they should be playing everything that they do, because that's the age, but they learn so much through play. You have to understand, so whether they are using water play, they are doing sand play, but they're learning volume, they're learning maths, they're learning language. So think of it on that way, that what we need is futuristic skills. And these skills will help your child for any career that will open up. So what are the options? I'm sure most of us are in Mumbai and watching this webinar. So what are the options available for us in Mumbai? We have two boards. One is the national and one is the international. The national board has SSE, ICSE, CBSE, and the international also has Cambridge and IB. So we are talking about both the boards and trying to see what is so unique, what is the USP of an international primary school. So what is so great? See, friends, you and I know what you can teach in junior KG, grade 1, grade 4. All those classes, the child's age milestones will allow him to learn content which is very similar across the boards. So what is so different in this international primary school setup, learning environment? It's the way that it is being taught. That is very different. Because there, if I'm teaching plants, everybody teaches plants. But how is it being taught there and how is it being taught in other schools? That's where the difference is. Another major difference is the class size, friends. Because in national curriculum schools, by default, you have 40 kids, 45 kids in a class. So what will the teacher do? While in an international primary school, class sizes are small, so there is more personalized education with the child. So now let's think about the different boards. I know my PowerPoint may not be too big, but I will explain to you what I'm trying to say. Think about this, friends. Do you want a content-heavy curriculum, 10 exercise books versus 2 exercise books? Or you want a concept-driven curriculum? You know, a concept-driven curriculum is where 5 concepts are taught in a class in a term, but they are so well embedded in your child that there is a spiral education. So they build up on it. Okay. Do you want rote learning for your child? 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, whatever we learned, you know, and plants are this and whatever. This is the way you and I have studied. Or do you want inquiry learning? And what is inquiry learning? Means a concept is introduced, the child and the teacher learn together. So if I find out an answer for myself, for example, if I were to show you this glass of water, what would be the perspective? You would say it's half empty, I'll say it's half full. So it's the way you teach. It's not, I'm not saying this is a glass and it is half filled with water. I will not teach in an international primary school like that. I will ask for their opinion and I'll ask them a reason why they are saying what they are saying. That's very important, friends. Then I already told you about the large class size and the small class size. Now, because if there are 40 children in a class, it's not humanly possible to teach this personalized teaching, this, experiential learning. It will be didactic teaching. What is didactic teaching? The teacher stands, the teacher talks, the children listen. End of the class, next period, bell, next, same matter continues. Why? Because in a 40-minute, even a 30 or a 40-minute class with 40 children, the teacher can't do this inquiry learning. It's not possible. We need smaller class sizes. Now, what do you want for your child? Do you want your child to be a walking, talking, content master, or you want him to have skills? Skills to inquire, skills to apply, skills to analyze. The world now, imagine friends, we had seen, was there when you and I studied, was there something like a career like cyber professionals, cyber safety? We never knew anything about this, cyber fraud. But because those children who had those tech skills were able to get into those professions. So what I am suggesting to you is choose a school which will give you skills, because content is so much available on the internet. Even if your child is good, he will Google and find out all the answers. But it needs the skill of what I need to pick up from those 10 pages which I have downloaded. Next is, we want your child to be ready for now, or you want your child to be future ready. Obviously, we all want our child to be future ready. And when your child is future ready, he will jump into any career that is available for your child. So what makes an international primary school so unique? What is the USP? They mostly, as I said earlier, content is very similar. It's the teaching methodology. So what are the teaching methodologies that we use in our schools? We use experiential learning. What is experiential learning? It's hands-on learning. For example, I will not teach them measurement with a ruler only. I will first start and say, why don't you learn estimation? In India, maths, estimation is never taught. And what is estimation? I would show you a mobile phone and I will tell my children, use your hand span and measure. Is it one hand span? Is it, then we use the floor, we use foot span. So we are getting them to be mentally alert. The last will come the ruler and the measuring tape. So I want them to be able to look at something and say, approximately, it's so much. So that is experiential learning when they're doing it themselves. What is important is not the product. For example, if I'm even in my art class, or you can take any science class, it's not that all the children should get the same result in the experiment. That's not essential. The process is more important. I failed. I took 2 ml. I should have, no, it's not working. Now let me try with 3 ml. Now let me try with 1 ml. Oh, wow, this is the result. So with 1, 2, and 3, I got 3 different results. I want the child to experiment it himself. Usually, please think back, friends. How did you and I study? You and I studied by the same method. Teacher gave us aim, what you need, the procedure, and what is the conclusion. Everything the teacher demonstrated and we followed. Here it's different. The child will have to experiment and come to his own. So for us, if it's an art piece, he's creating something, he's making a bridge of cardboard, it will break 3 times, but the teacher will allow him. They will give him that space, because he will think, why did it fail? What should I do? I think my pillars or foundation or whatever is the block was not right. They were of different heights. Different things. He will start thinking, and that's important. Next is Bala. This is a very popular thing, not so popular so much in Indian schools, is to use building as a learning resource. So whether we use our passages, we use our staircases, we use our classroom, we use our windows, we use everything to teach. So it's not that only the textbook is the resource. We use our building also as a learning resource. That's fun learning. Children love it, So when I'm doing counting by 2s, I'll say, let's go on the staircase and let's jump 2 steps. 2, 4, 6, 8. They're playing, they're jumping, they're going up, but they're learning. Then I'll say, okay, now let's do even numbers. Now let's do odd numbers. So it's just it's a way of using your building, and it's also using different ways of teaching your child. Technology enabled learning. Today's children are much smarter than you and me. I'm telling you, even when I want to do something, I will need a younger colleague or a student to come and help me with certain things, because we are not grown up with technology. We have taken it into ourselves, and today we are learning. So our children are very technology smart. So now if I give them a flipped classroom, now what is a flipped classroom, friends? A flipped classroom is I am giving them a video, I'm giving them an assignment to do online. They read it or they view it, Next day, I don't waste time showing them the video or reading with them. We start our discussion. So what was the point? What did you learn? What happened? Who was the character? Why was he a mean character? And different depending on the subject. So this technology enabled learning is very essential for our children, and they enjoy it. And they will do this homework. But if I tell them read chapter 12 and come to class, 20% of them are not going to read because it's so boring to them. But if I give them an assignment like a flipped classroom, they will all enjoy it. Next is active learning. A didactic classroom, which I was saying, where the teacher talks and the student listens, is a very boring classroom. It has to be active. There has to be movement. In fact, when I take my rounds in any school, and if I see a very quiet classroom, learning is not happening because there is no discussion, there is no noise. I am not saying a noise decibel level has to be controlled, but there is some action happening in that classroom, some learning is happening. And obviously, when I do all these things, I'm creating a lifelong learner. So how can this all be implemented, friends? You will say, yep, we love all what you're saying. Yes, this is the right way to teach our children. But how will it happen? And that's where the international primary learning environment will come in play. What happens is you have ongoing teacher training. So usually in schools where you and I studied, friends, what happened? I had a B.Ed or maybe an M.Ed. I joined a school and that's it. 20 साल पहले मैंने जो सीखा वो तरीका ही मेरे लिए ठीक है, मैं वो तरीका से ही पढ़ाऊंगी. Is that what it is? The world is moving very fast. In the pandemic, you know what happened? We've all gone on the virtual world, and how we have to teach is so different from the physical classroom. So this ongoing teacher training is so essential. And it is not a one-time thing or a one certificate course. It's a continuous process, which international schools have to do by force because of the board affiliation, and also because it's a culture of the school, and you can't change a culture. You have to continue. Another thing is mentoring. Many times what happens, I have 5 very good teachers. I have 3 who just joined in. They get these senior teachers as their mentor teachers. So the ongoing training is happening. Plus, if I'm stuck in the middle of something, I have a mentor who I can just go and take an opinion for. Risk-taking is very essential, because as a new teacher or even as an experienced teacher, I will have to take a risk. I will have to try to do something new and see whether it's working with my children or not. And I'm telling you, every risk we take as teachers, it works wonders, because our children love this. Oh, today it's a magic, I'm going to do this. Their eyes pop up like that and they are so interested. Why are they so interested? Because it's something new for them. If it's just open page 10 and let's do this now, you'll have the interested ones following you. Some of them, you've lost them already. The plot is lost for them. Okay. As I told you earlier, when we do conceptual teaching, there is a spiral curriculum. So I am teaching plants right from my nursery to my grade 12 in the bio class, but it is a spiral growth. So what I learn, I build on it. You and I, friends, have learned in a very rote learning environment. And you know what used to happen after my exams, when I would come home, and my mother would say, what was your answer? Question 2. And I would say, Ma, please, I beg of you, don't ask me anything. I finished the paper. It's out of my life now. Now let me enjoy my holidays. But these kids, it's fun. Their assessments are not only paper pencil. Of course, there are paper pencil tests, but there is lots more happening in their lives. So for them, it's each day is a new day. And the curriculum design is made such way, in a way, in these international schools, that the kids have to innovate. They have to learn. A problem is given to them and they have to solve. For example, sometimes we give them a simple problem. We give them a box and say, now create something which we can use at home. Create something which you could use in your classroom. Now, each group will have to think out of the box and innovate and create something. So this is all learning. And this is so much fun. It's not boring. But please, friends, don't understand, I'm not teaching. I am teaching my concepts. I have a curriculum, but the method is very different. So look at the different types of methods that we use. One we use is called a pear deck. Now, what is pear deck? It's a technology tool. in which I am allowed to do a lot of peer learning. So as a facilitator, as a teacher, I'm there even in an online world, I am there. But my children are assessing one another. My children are chatting with one another. And this app allows me to do that. Okay. Another thing which we use a lot is thinker keys. You know, Tony Ryan thinker keys. Excellent. For example, let me give you an example. Now, if I were to show you this bag, okay, and I'll say we are using the what if key. The what if key is this bag is used to hold coins. What if this was not to hold coins? What else could you use it for? The children come out with amazing ideas. One came out and said, you know, ma'am, I can put something and I can make it like a music shaker. Wow, thinking out of the box. Another child told me, ma'am, you know what I can do with it? I will put all things and I'll make it like a sensory bag. So then the small children, when they learn touch and feel, they can use it. So you see, we're giving opportunities to children to think out of by using these different keys. Another thing which we use also in our classroom are thinking hats. Now, what are thinking hats? Thinking hats, I'm sure you've heard about Edward de Bono's 6 thinking hats. So when I wear the red hat, it's a feeling hat. So the teacher will put the red hat and say, okay, in this particular story, what do you think Romeo was feeling when Juliet said this to him? Now, because she's wearing a feeling hat, she has to talk about the feelings. I mean, it's so innovative and the whole class is interested. Then I take out the black hat, I make them wear, and then I make them wear the white hat. So I have these 6 hats on my table. Depending on what I want to teach and what I want to question, I'm making them wear that hat. And it's fun because they're all alert that active classroom is happening. And when one child is wearing the red hat, the feeling hat, you'll have 4 children raising up their hands and saying, Miss, I would say this, okay? Wear the hat, tell me your feeling. So the whole class is participating. And your job becomes much easier because you are not only doing the talking. You bring a concept, you let it loose in the class, the children learn by themselves. Another thing which we use is the elbow strategy. Now, what is an elbow strategy? All our children are sitting next to one another. Okay. Those are called elbow partners, where I can touch my elbow with my friend. Okay. So it's called the elbow strategy. In this strategy, we are talking about whatever we may be discussing. What's your opinion? What's my opinion? Let's come to some new opinion and present it to the class. So you see, these are very interesting. I've just named a few because of time constraints to give you an idea what type of strategies we use. So what is essential, friends? What type of a school should you look at? And what is an international primary learning environment which is important? It's a mindful school, a school where we care for the children. It has to be not a sort of fly-by-night operator who's just taken a building on rent and started a school. Please look at the credentials of the trust. How old is this trust? Is it a reputed trust? Because if it is, then whatever they will say and do will make sense and they will never back out. Is there value? Do they value parental involvement? I think what parents can do, and that is now proved, that in this online vertical, it's so much more parent help that we need to take to teach our children because they're not full time with us. So we have to value parental involvement in various things. So do they value parents and their involvement? Or they think, oh my God, now these parents are going to chew our brains. But it's their child. It's a learning journey for the parent, for the school and the child. So what is the teacher-student ratio? Is it a small class size? Is there holistic development? Are the arts as important as academics? Is it an NEP compliant? So not now, but maybe in the future when you're looking at, I don't know when you may be looking at a school, does it follow all the NEP guidelines? Because they are very interesting guidelines. If everybody were to follow even 50% of it, our schools, there would be a sea change. So what would be the skills in an international primary school which will definitely get, and attitudes which will get developed? Appreciation, creativity, empathy, curiosity, respect, tolerance, confidence. See, you will say, oh, these are interesting words that, ma'am, you've put up on your PowerPoint. Does it actually happen? Yes, friends, it happens. Why? Because the teaching methodology is there. So when I'm working in a group, I have to appreciate the effort of the other. When I present, I have to become confident. Initially, when a new child joins a school, the first 2-3 months may be difficult because he's not coming from nursery. So it may be a wee bit difficult. But within 3 months, because this methodology is like that in class, they develop this. Some may develop 5%, some develop 7%, some develop 10%. But it does get developed in your child. And as your child progresses, it really grows with your child. So let's talk about some skill sets. Thinking skills, very, very important. Problem solving skills, how do they solve? Through various learning engagements. Social skills, communication skills, life skills. In fact, in our online vertical, we are using so much and doing so many parent workshops to how life skills can be developed even by parents. For example, initially we had told our parents, that there were no mates coming to anybody's home. Get your child to mop. Let your child mop. He may make a mess, there may be more water, it's fine, but let him mop. Put on some music, and then it becomes a fun activity. It's not a, oh ma, I have to mop the floor. And then singing and mopping, and they're learning so much. Or they may be singing, they may be saying some poetry, some alphabet, and they're mopping. They may not mop it well. You may have to do it, but you're teaching a life skill to your child. And that's what we told our parents, involve them. Even they're getting bored sitting at home. So these are some skills which we develop in our children at school. So why international education? We talked about a lot of the learning environment, what we do. So how come international education is important? It's very important because today the world has become a village, a global village. Businesses, professions. Even today, sitting here, I'm talking through a Zoom meeting with my friend in Australia. A teacher is telling me what they did in New Zealand when they opened their schools, what was the sanitization protocol. So it's a small village. So we have to teach them the local to global connect. They have to understand, if I'm talking about maybe pandemic in Mumbai, they will connect it to pandemic happening in US or pandemic happening in Netherlands, how schools have opened there, why was it controlled, what did they do. So, this local to global connect in every topic we do bring about. There is transdisciplinary learning. So if I'm teaching science, for example, physics, I will need mathematics to solve physics problems. If I'm teaching history, I will need a bit of geography to tell them the location of the kingdom and whatever. So everything is transdisciplinary. There are no watertight subjects. Field trips are very important. In fact, now, friends, because it's a virtual world, we're doing a lot of online field trips for our children. And even you as parents, if you want, Google and find out. There are lots of zoo visits and all which are free online, where you could go with your child and your child feels, and he sees animals and whatever topic the school may be doing, you could help him with that. Guest speakers, we really believe only the teacher's perspective is not important. The child needs to hear many opinions and then formulate his own opinion. So we invite a lot of guest speakers, collaboration with other schools. So this connect with other schools, either through Twitter, that happens more in the middle school. And in primary, we do a lot through FaceTime or through a Skype. One school, I'm talking about Ganpati festival in India. There is a school in Singapore which talks about the Chinese New Year that they celebrate in Singapore. So these type of conversations happen a lot. And also at the end of the international education, there are 2 doors open for your child. He can go back into India and study in our colleges, sit for the NEET, whatever, the EEE, everything. And on the other hand, if you aspire to send him overseas, he can go overseas, because both the options are open for your child. There is no restriction that if I put my child in an international school, I will have to send him overseas. No, friends. You're teaching him skill development, post grade 10 or grade 12, whichever school you choose, your child can then move on into college in Mumbai itself. So I would like to talk about this quote, the last 2 slides of mine, that education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow, belongs to those who prepare for it today. This is so very important. And parents, that's where I plead and urge you think about it. The education that you give your child, it has to make him future ready. It has to get him ready. Please think about this. Another earnest request to parents who are watching this, choose wisely for your child and give him a good start, because your child's attitude is important and it has to be nurtured and developed. Attitudes are as important as the skills. As one person, Zig Ziglar, has said, and what has he said? Super. In 2 lines, it sums it all. Your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So today, I may not be a very clever student, but my attitude is, I will do it, come what may. That will help me to rise. So whatever is my career option, whatever I want to do, I'll do it because I have a right and positive attitude. So even at home, friends, develop this attitude and don't nag your child. See your friend's son or see the neighbor and look how they are doing. Be happy with what he's doing and help him to move on and on. That is important, even your attitude towards your child and your child's attitude towards academics. So now I would request parents, finally, this is your choice. Choice is yours, whether you want to take up international primary school, pre-primary school, whatever school. Imagine, sometimes a parent says, it's so, I said, when you go out shopping or you go to a restaurant, all this is not happening in COVID times, but I'm just saying, you're spending, in one good meal, you spend about 2,000, 3,000. So over a period of 12 months, you're spending so much. I would say invest in education. It's an investment, friends, because then you will either step forward into growth or you will step backward into safety. No, Baba, my national curriculum school is safe. I know what it is. I've studied, my child will study. So think, you want to move forward to make your child future ready, or you want to step backward into safety. Choice is yours. Thank you very much. So now I would like to ask Priya. She is the primary and pre-primary head at the Maina Devi Bajaj International School. And I would love, I have sort of created a ground. I'm sure you guys are interested to know from her, how do we actually implement it in school? So my first question to you, Priya, is how is learning stress-free and fun-filled at MBIS? MBIS being Maina Devi Bajaj International School. Tell us, what do you all do in your school?
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about it. I would like to answer this question in 2 parts, ma'am. First, I would like to answer how learning is made stress-free at MBIS. At MBIS, we build a positive emotional environment so that our students gain emotional resilience and learn more efficiently and at a higher level of cognition. Every student is encouraged to answer irrespective of the answer being right or wrong. For example, when a student is answering but not to the point, the teacher encourages and motivates the student in a positive manner by saying that you're close to the answer, you're partially correct, or you're coming close to the answer, or I think you can rethink an answer. So over here, we see that the fear of telling the wrong answer is completely eliminated. Every student is encouraged to speak his or her own thoughts. The teacher provides the correct answer with an explanation only if the students are unable to derive it. Now, ma'am, coming to your second part of the question, how learning is fun at MBIS. Play and learn is a maxim in pre-primary and primary. In science, as you said, how we integrate with the other subjects, I would also quote how we have done with the learning when we learned about plants. We children grew a plant, then the students measured the growth by the non-standard units like the handspan. They also do a role play from seed to plant, And the student also learn a song on photosynthesis. And thus, learning is made very funful and stress-free at MBIS.
Thank you so much. My
Thank you,
next question to you, Priya, is at MBIS, what are the teaching strategies which makes learning so joyful, and why do the children cry when it's a holiday? And now even in the online vertical, whenever you call them, the child is saying, Ma, I also want to go to pick up something from school, just because they're missing you and missing school. So can you tell us, what do you all do as teaching strategies?
Ma'am, okay, to name some of the strategies, as you've already mentioned earlier in your presentation, I would like to add on that we have inquiry-based learning, brainstorming and discussion, bus stop strategy, learning through research, hands-on learning, experiential learning. We also invite a guest speaker. We have a comparative study, transdisciplinary learning, and learning through culmination, and etc. Here, I like to give you an example about the bus stop strategy. If in primary section, we are teaching nouns. One of the strategy followed to teach noun is the bus stop strategy. Teacher places different images of common and proper noun along with the blank flashcards around the class. Okay, just as a bus stops at different stops, here the images are their bus stops and the blank cards are not the stops. So as the students start moving in pairs, when they come in front of a proper noun, they give a high five to their partner. So when they start moving, when they come in front of a common noun, they hold their hands together and they jump. And next, when there is the blank cards around, they just move on. So when they just move on, the game ends when they reach the last stop. And the student have a lot of fun doing this activity. I would also like to add, presently during our online classes, we had taken our students on a virtual tour to a Washington DC museum so that they could continue with their experiential learning. The students were very excited and enjoyed the tour. We have combined interesting instructional strategies with our digital tools that includes a PowerPoint presentation, online games, as you mentioned, the tools like Padlets, and also Kahoot games to make our teaching learning process very joyful. So definitely our students, though they miss the school, we make it more interesting in the online classroom too.
Oh, lovely. Super. I loved your bus stop strategy, Ms. Priya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
One more last question I have for you. What do you do to enhance the learning in your students? Because as you and I, as teachers, know, everybody in school is not of the same caliber. So even in an international primary school, what do you guys actually do?
Here I would like to say that identifying the strength and weakness of every child is very imperative to us. Learning at the rate of one and every child first help to enhance individual learning of each child. What I just spoke now are some of the core values of our MBIS school. The students who need to enhance their self-confidence or they need to get over their stage fright. We have the annual functions, we have the culminations, we have the student-led conference. These really works wonders in this area. Group activities, which we do in our class, help to enhance their team spirit, teach patience, and the art of listening skills to art of listening to their views and opinions is also developed over here. The extra support class helps students who need to come up to the expected grade level academically. Also, I have to add, the students who need support for becoming more responsible or punctual, etc., are helped to develop these important life skills, as you mentioned in your PowerPoint, ma'am. And you know, Ms. Farzana, MBIS being a boutique school, we are able to cater to students' needs individually. So our school, MBIS school, are happy places for our students.
Oh, and I would like to congratulate you also, Priya, because your school in the Times Ranking Awards did very well. I would congratulate you because you've got a very good rank into the, I think you were ranked 5th in Mumbai, if I'm not mistaken, for international school. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This In fact, all this just adds to this whole value that we have, that what do we do in a boutique school experience. And another thing, parents, I would love to tell you, and I love that Priya brought it up, we were used to schools which were big campuses, 2,000 children. It's like a factory production, mass production. Here, Priya, the teachers, Nitin sir, who's the head of school, the trustees, everybody would know every child, every parent, and every weakness and strength. And that together is a big thing. Because in this boutique experience, why do you go to shop for exclusive garments in a boutique? Why don't you go to a big, maybe like a Crawford Market, or you go to Gandhi Market and just pick it up? It's much cheaper. But why do you go for a boutique experience? Because you want something which is unique. You want an environment which is conducive. And that's where I feel MBIS, congratulations. That's why I think you guys have got that ranking. So do look into the Times of India e-newspaper of yesterday. It was just out yesterday. Any questions? If the audience has to ask either Priya or me, we are very much here. So please let us know. Someone has asked us this question, that which school are we talking? MBIS is an IB and Cambridge affiliated school. That was a question some person has put onto the chat to ask. It's authorized Cambridge school from nursery to grade 10. We do the IGCSE, and in 11th and 12th we do the IB diploma. Any questions you could type in, or you could ask us. See, this is what I usually tell, that it's always very important to ask the questions to clear your doubts. Even in our classrooms, that's why we don't like the didactic teaching. We like it to be a very interactive place. So if not today, if even in the future, there is a link, a YouTube link of Rajasthan, which has been put up. You could look at that YouTube and maybe you will get some answers to some queries. Any other questions? If someone, I think, has put up another question. Are any foreign languages taught in the school? Of course, yes. Yes, very much. We teach French. We teach French. Priya, from which class do we teach?
From grade 1 onwards, we do teach French.
Yes, of course, Hindi is taught, English is taught, now a bit of Marathi because of...
Yeah, Marathi also is.
Also, but see, you have to understand the way we approach languages is not by rote. It's by doing. So, for example, in a French class, I'll just explain what we do. What we do in a French class, we create a scene, and children have to they've learned some vocabulary, they have to use that in the class. So it is more of play. It's like they're doing a role play and they're learning a language. So if they're learning colors, there would be something about colors that they are doing. So it's not a very bookish type of thing. It is a love for the language, because we want our children to become linguists. One more question has come. Just hold on, let me read. What does IB stand for? How is the transition for students who come from senior KG from other schools to grade 1 in MBIS? A very good question. IB stands for International Baccalaureate. That's a board which is based out of Geneva. In Mumbai, some of the best schools, like you have the Oberoi in our area, we have Ecole Mondiale, Dhirubhai Ambani, then you have BD Somani. You have all these schools which are all IB schools, Jamnabai, all are IB schools. Okay, IB stands for International Baccalaureate. And how easy it is for a child to transit from a senior KG to a grade 1. I told you earlier also, friends, content-wise, every school does similar. But it's the approach which is different. And the inquiry, the thinking that comes into your classroom. For example, even if I'm teaching something like a math, I am using Lego. I am using manipulatives. Why do we use all this? I mean, I can write on the board and teach the children, but I want them to learn and to understand. So, yes, please, children have moved from not only from IGCSE to our diploma or from ICSE to come and do a grade 11. They've also moved from some pre-primary or even a pre-primary in a national curriculum school to us. And it has been an enjoyable experience for those children because content-wise, they are similar. It's the approach, it's the thinking, that's where it's, and the communication skills. Imagine a grade 1 coming in front of all the audience and talking. We have done something called the maths fest. We've done a language fest. You know what we did? Language was a game. They played games along with their parents. So they revised their nouns or adjectives along with their parent. They played maths, whatever concepts in maths they learned, they played with their parents. So this was like showcasing to the parents. We talk play and learn, play and learn. How do we actually do it? So this was like a window for the parents to understand what we do. We've got one more question. What is the teacher-student ratio? Priya, what is our teacher-student ratio? I mean, how many maximum children do we have in a class?
We have 25 students in our
25
class.
is our teacher-student.
Yeah. I think in grade 2, we have 2 teachers as such. After grade 3 onwards, we have 1 teacher.
That
we have
one
subject teachers coming in actually.
But yes, a lot of your French teacher, your Hindi teacher, your music teacher, your PE teacher, art teacher. I mean, we have a whole bundle of specialists who also work with your child, you know, right from nursery to grade 10.
Correct.
We have our Shyamak Davar comes in for a dance. We have theater person coming in. So there are a lot of specialists also who join.
Martial arts.
Yeah, martial arts. We have a lot of specialists who come in and work along with the teacher in the classroom.
I think we have.
We have no more questions now.
No, I think we don't have more questions.
Yes.
I think we have one more, ma'am. One is coming.
Yeah, one has just come in. Yes, right.
Are only experienced hired in the school or even freshers?
Are only experienced teachers hired in the school or even freshers? It's experienced teachers. See, for us, sometimes even an experienced teacher who comes to us is for us a fresher. Because the way we teach and learn, I mean, we work a lot with, and this ongoing teacher training is not something just on a PowerPoint slide that we say, we actually believe in it. So for us, any teacher who comes, what we want is she technology savvy? Does she have good communication skills? And is she, is she mindful? Very important. I don't want a teacher who will just tell a child, in a bad mood, in an angry mood, something. So these are the prerequisites for us. Then we work with even an experienced teacher, we will teach him. I mean, tell me how many teachers would know about bus stop strategy, even in some of our best schools. So even an experienced teacher will have to be mentored by us. And that's where we are all, wow, that's Priya's job. Priya earns a salary because of that. And she's, we have not introduced both ourselves, but she's a very experienced educator who's been in this vertical and has worked in primary schools for like, I think it's over 15, 17 years.
Yes.
She looks very young for that age, but her looks are deceptive. She is very experienced and into international education. So it's not, I'm just telling you, for us, our teaching faculty is a family. We work together. We are in it together. So it's not up and down, big or small. So in no way do we feel, Priya can walk up and ask even a teacher to, hey guys, give me an idea for this. She doesn't feel that, oh, I'm the coordinator. How can I ask my next teacher for an idea? Because it's a we on our campus. It's not an I. Basically, that is it. We've got
two more questions, ma'am. We have how much weightage is given to extracurricular activity along with academics? Yes, we do give.
Yeah. So this question is very important. Very good question. For us, I would say initially up to grade 5, it's a combination. We never take it as this is PE, this is art, this is English, this is maths. It's transdisciplinary. So for example, I'll give you an example. Suppose if we are learning Indus Valley Civilization in grade 4, 3, I don't know, whichever class we learn. There, the teacher, the homeroom teacher, we call, gets the art teacher involved and says, you know, I'm teaching about Indus Valley. Can you, in your art, can you make some seals with the children? So they will understand the type of things that were made in Indus Valley. The science teacher in some class, if she's doing body systems, pulse, she'll talk to the PE teacher and say, you know, I'm doing this. I want them to understand pulse and the rate and whatever. So she will take them on into the playground. She'll make them run around. First she'll take the pulse. Then she will say, okay, now run around, play. And before the class ends, again, she'll tell them to check their pulse. So in a very fun way, it is not PE separate and science is separate. That's the beauty of our curriculum. We integrate it all, you know. That's how we do. I mean, gamification would be a tech thing, but we use a lot of these apps in our classrooms to do assessment, and children think it's fun. Okay.
Is where the school located? I think that's the question they have.
Oh, the school. Yes, Priya, if you could answer this. Where's the school?
Yeah, it's with SV Road, Malad West. I think I should
you can't miss the Rajasthani Sammelan on SV Road. It's a huge campus, huge. That's the first time when I walked in also, I didn't have to ask anyone, I found it. Okay, and then you have to come into the main road itself. Yeah, you have to enter from the Maina Devi Bajaj International. So there are different entrances. You will have to enter from the Maina Devi Bajaj International School entrance. So I hope it has been fruitful, and we wish you all the best in these times, and whatever career, whichever school you choose for your child, we wish you all the best, and God bless you. Stay safe, especially in these COVID times. Thank you very much. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, ma'am.